The idea of what is it? I was just finishing up an episode of Chopped, and one of the contestants had made these donut little balls, right? Like donut holes. And, someone's saying, it's not fluffy enough. It's more like cake-ish. And one of the other judges made a comment that actually there's a place that makes things like this. They are like more like cake. And, he said what saved this guy is the sauce and, the chocolate. You just wrap it around and eat it. And it makes it so good you want to eat more. And the fact that he mentioned a place makes it like this means that they're obviously successful. There's nothing wrong with this. In fact, you may think it's weird, but you're wrong. And I feel that's very interesting. Why does it change your opinion when someone else says it's been done this way before? You think it's weird, but it's been done this way before, or it's done that way over here in this culture or in this place. Why does that matter? Because food and what we think about it is influenced so much by what other people say to us. And these ideas, these questions, they go in our head and start the wheels turning and change whether or not we like a food, right? Moss Burger in Japan is a perfect example. I took my friend there in Japan and he never had it. I was like, oh, there's this delicious place. They have these wonderful burgers. And he tried it. He's like, it's not very good, right? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, the meat doesn't taste like anything. I was like, wow, you're right. I mean, burgers are you're supposed to taste the meat. That's the whole point. And Moss Burger, the meat's so thin, it just doesn't have any flavor. It doesn't have any texture. It doesn't have that bite to it. Don't feel like you're eating meat, which is why you eat a burger, right? But then on the contrary, right? I didn't say this, but you ask, why do people like McDonald's, the basic hamburger? That meat is very thin. You just bite right through it. It has no texture. But yes, people still enjoy it. Why is that? We think of these things objectively: food, flavor, salty, sweet, spicy, blah, 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 umami. We think of appearance, looks cool. But sometimes it looks messy. Like on one show, this lady takes this contraption, throws it down, and that's how you eat it. A mess. And yet, it's good. It's almost like art, I feel, because you look at this painting or sculpture and you're not quite sure what to make of it, and you hear the artist talking about, so I was thinking about, the trials and tribulations in the world, and I had this beautiful idea in my head, and this is how blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, hocus pocus to me, but apparently people buy it, and it sells, and I don't know what to say about it. I think that's sort of similar to food. We may not understand it, we may understand it, we may agree, we may disagree, but what people say about it influences us. Isn't that interesting? People talking about food that's already made, food that's sitting right there in front of you, somehow influence how it tastes, how you remember the food, how you perceive whether it's delicious or not. I don't get it, except that it's true. And the weird thing, or the special thing, or the insightful tip is that it's not just food. It's almost everything in life. It's not just purely presentation, what you're told about up front. It's what people say about it. You heard a bad review about this place, this amusement park. You're not going to go there because you don't want to be disappointed. Or you wanted to go there and then somebody says something and you still go and you're like, yeah, they were right. All these things people say just swirl around our head, influence us in ways we can't even imagine. And they change a perception of things that are very objective, things that are very solid and real, like food. It's all in the head. Other people's thoughts come into our ears, filter into our brain, and somehow they change reality and how we perceive it. Isn't that amazing?